because everybody else has spoken, the private sector has spoken, the unions have spoken, and we will meet again on the 30th of August to have further discussions as one. But I feel that it is important that I now speak to you about the government's position, the cabinet's position. Philosophically, I personally, and most of my cabinet, in fact my cabinet, have all agreed that we should not mandate vaccines. We're philosophically opposed to the mandating of vaccines. And that's not who we are as a people. Barbados' overriding objective must be to, one, yes, to keep this country safe, but equally to keep this country united. That is who we are. 166 square miles cannot admit of the serious divisions. And COVID has done enough damage already. It has threatened too many of us. It has taken, regrettably, those 48 persons. But COVID must not be allowed to divide us as a people or as a nation. And that is the commitment I give you as Prime Minister of this country. To that extent, therefore, we must dig deep and understand who we are. What is our DNA? What makes Bajans tick? And more often than not, Bajans operate on the basis first of respect. You got to see me, you got to hear me, you got to talk with me. And to that extent, that is what we feel that we need to do as a nation. As a result, yesterday when the social partnership met, we all agreed that this is the way for us to go, that we have to do better by our people, and that before we start talking about legal opinion and the legislative framework, those things are not us. And that our first thing next week is for me to go to understand those who may still be ambivalent, those who have already made up their mind. I get you, I hear you. Because in my own family, I got people who believe in alternative medicine. I got people who say they don't want that. But in every household, there are always divisions that are possible. There are some households where people are vegan and the other person eats enough pigtail, enough pork. That happens. We know it only too well. There are some households where you have one buddy who is a devout Catholic, another one a devout Pentecostal, another one a Rasta, and another one who say, boy, I really ain't sure who I believe in. Agnostic. That happens, but the family is still one. And these are the things that we need to recognize, that we have never allowed these things to divide us as a people. And whether we support vaccinations or we don't support vaccinations must not be allowed to divide us. COVID has affected 2% of Barbadians in terms of people catching it. In terms of the well-being, mental, physical, and financial, it has affected 98%, if not 100% of Barbadians. But what it must not be allowed to do is to divide us. And to that extent, my friends, we now have to work together as a people. I believe that there are certain institutions where we have to equally to be conscious, however, that we do need to encourage a healthy uptake, largely because of the evidence that I presented to you earlier from countries like Iceland and other countries where the clear high percentage of vaccinated persons has led to either an elimination or a reduction in deaths and a certain reduction in hospitalizations. What does that mean? That, for example, persons who are not wanting vaccines because they're a little ambivalent, we can come and talk with you. Persons who may have concerns or medical questions, we can try to find the answers for you. Persons who are adamant that they don't want it, we respect you. But we want to recognize also, for all of us, that this is a country where we invariably never have 100% of one thing or another, but we have learned how to live together and how to carry each other. Barbados is the country that ensures that we make sure that all our children are educated, even if they don't have access to the money. We are the country that makes sure that our people have access to health care, even if they don't have the money. So that we are accustomed carrying each other. And in this battle, we will have to respect those who have a fervent and deep philosophical perspective, or who for medical reasons genuinely cannot take the vaccine. And for those of you who are ambivalent, I can be straight. I come in to help persuade you, because I believe that vaccines will save your lives. And to that extent, the questions that you may ask, how so fast, what we're doing, all those things we want to talk about. But in certain particular scenarios, it is even more critical. And what do I mean? You have a right to ensure that in our healthcare facilities people are protected. I believe that the doctors live by the motto, do no harm. And to that extent, I want to go myself starting Monday afternoon to the healthcare institutions in our country. I'm happy that our public health nurses, I'm told that the level of vaccinations is just under 80%. In other words, 8 out of every 10 public health nurses are vaccinated. But we do have some issues still in our hospitals that require us to move the numbers up some more. I want to come and hear you directly, and I pledge to do that almost every day next week across the different institutions.